We're locked in again.
So you don't want to sit next to George, okay? Yeah. Let me know in the front seat.
Okay, that night photo I took last night. I put the camera in night mode.
Let me see. Let me see.
In night mode. Can't put his phone in night mode. Camera in night mode. So it was dark when I took that photo and yeah, showed everything. I wish I'd taken a close up look.
On the left-hand side, through the fence, you can see the concrete tank where the seawater was stored and the sulfuric acid was added. The diluted acid then ran underground to the pump station, which is in front of it, and fed the pumps which pumped the liquid to the top of the tailings heaps. On the right-hand side, you can see the remains of the precipitation canals. Unfortunately, the timber lining has been removed over the last 70 years, and all that remains is the walkway and the scrap steel that is scattered throughout the scrub. Now out on your right, you can see one of the slime pits. There are some 30 hectares of these out there, and they consist of the fines left over from the final stage of the concentration process. The reason that they are called slime pits is that they contain a lot of fine clay, which makes them very slippery and slimy when wet. On your right-hand side at the bend, you can see what were known as the settling tanks. Water from the precipitation plant ran down to here, where the mud and other materials settled out. Then the water gravitated back to the pump station we saw earlier, where it was reacidified and reused in the process. In the paddock on your left, you can see some of the 6 shafts on Hall's Lode. Lode was the name used to describe a continuous body of underground ore. Hall's Lode stretches to behind the railway station, where it comes close to Alice's Lode, which partly runs under the Moonta Area School. In 1994, at the end of a sports day, there was heavy rain. Imagine their surprise when they found a large hole in the sports ground. Alice's Lode had collapsed. We still get occasional collapses and subsidence throughout the mine area. In 1862, a broad-gauge horse-drawn railway system was built from Kadina to Wallaroo, and by 1866, this had been extended to include Moonta Mines to Wallaroo. The horse teams were changed halfway between Moonta and Wallaroo, and fresh horses completed the journey. This horse-drawn system was extended into Moonta Township in 1868 and down to the Moonta Jetty in 1879. It continued to operate from East Moonta to the jetty until 1931, when it ceased operations. The only original horse tram left, built in 1896, is on display at our Wheel Mountain platform, where we will get off the train. As time progressed, the horse trams were withdrawn from ore transport in favour of steam locomotives, which operated on a narrow gauge railway from Moonta to Wallaroo from 1891 onwards. The original railway station was constructed in the township in 1891, and this was superseded in 1909 by the beautiful current building you see ahead of you. The narrow gauge line was upgraded to a broad gauge line operating from Moonta to Adelaide from 1927 onwards. It was used to cart grain, general cargo and passengers. The broad gauge railway system, which is the line you can see in front of the railway station, operated until 1979, after which time the railway station was converted to the Visitor Information Centre. If you need any information about tourism or accommodation, wish to view the photographic displays, or want to buy any souvenirs, you can visit the Visitor Information Centre and the volunteers there will be only too happy to help you. The cottages that you see located adjacent to the Kadina Road were for railway employees who maintained the broad gauge railway. Behind us, you will have seen the township of Moonta. The township was laid out in 1863, and by the end of that year, there were several businesses in operation, including 2 hotels. In 1864, 2 more hotels were being built, and by the end of that year, there were more than 30 businesses, including a doctor and a bank. Soon after this, the town storekeepers were complaining of the cost of carting goods out to the people living on the mining leases. The problem was solved with the building of metal roads and the development of the horse tram system. By 1870, the shops in Moonta were staying open until 10 p.m. on a Saturday evening, and many people came into town to do their shopping.